Tonight, as the killers of James Bulger are offered freedom, a new life and secret identities, Martin Bashir talks exclusively to James's mother, Denise Fergus.
I just want to ask them why they killed my son. They're the only ones that can answer that question.
Freeing the boys on parole, but what kind of justice is that for James?
They've always protected them and never James. They forgot about James. James is the victim in this.
Also tonight, changing faces.
Being famous is something really important to me, and if my nose is going to stop me, I'm not going to let it.
And how it sometimes goes wrong.
I'm a mum. I'm supposed to protect her. You know, if it hadn't been for me saying, yeah, you can have it done, she'd be here now.
Plus new cancer worries tonight over depleted uranium.
We ain't gonna let our staff die just because somebody ain't telling us the truth.
Did it kill the fittest man in the army?
I had to watch my son die day by day, and no mother should have to watch that.
The stories that matter to you. Tonight with Trevor McDonald.
A new life for the killers, more heartache for James Bulger's mother, and a court ruling which has split the nation. Good evening. This week in the High Court in London, Britain's top family judge, Dame Elizabeth Butler-Sloss, ruled that the killers of James Bulger should, after all, be granted anonymity for life. The two boys, now aged 18, will soon be out on parole. A new life awaits them. New homes, new identities, new family histories. And they'll be under constant protection from special police teams. The judge said she was compelled to make that ruling because moral outrage at the murder of 2-year-old James had not diminished. And without secret identity, she said, the killers would face serious risk of injury or death. Whichever way the ruling went, it was bound to divide public opinion, and so it has. But so far, the one person most closely and emotionally affected by it has kept her counsel. Tonight, however, James Bulger's mother has her say. She's been talking exclusively to Martin Bashir.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's doubt, true faith in you.
A child's coffin, a nation in shock. It was a brutal and calculated murder, and to this day the public, police and judiciary struggle to make sense of it. But once Robert Thompson and John Venables had been found guilty, the authorities were faced with one critical question: how to punish the boys responsible for the murder of James Bulger. February 1993, and a shopping centre's security cameras captured a toddler being led away from his mother by two children.
If you've got me, baby, just bring them back.
But James was already dead, his battered body discovered by children playing on a railway line. Police arrested two 10-year-olds, Robert Thompson and John Venables. These are tape recordings of those first police interviews.
Come on, all right.
I never got the boy. I never killed someone. Mum, we told him when we left him at the canal, that's all.
You left him at the canal by the strand?
Yeah.
I believe you.
Do you think I've killed him? He never got a kid, Mum. You think we did? We never. We never.
After nearly 4 days of questioning, the boys were charged with James's murder, and after a lengthy trial, were found guilty. What was your reaction to the sentence that they were given at the end of the trial?
Well, I thought, well, yeah, justice is being done here, because at the end of it, I remember him saying very, very many years. At that time in court, I thought, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
So at that point in time, you were satisfied that the sentence that they were going to receive was sufficient?
Yeah.
You were at ease with that?
Yeah.
But 12 months after the verdict, she discovered that very many years, in reality, meant just 8. The family was outraged. They presented a petition signed by 250,000 people. The then Home Secretary, Michael Howard, responded by raising the boys' tariff to 15 years.
I learned to live with that. I thought, yeah, I can live with the 15 years.
So at that point, were you relieved that...
I felt a little bit better, yeah. Not relieved, but I did feel a little bit better. I thought 15 years is a lot better than 8 years.
But the Court of Human Rights overruled this, and the boys' tariff was reduced back down to 8 years. What upset you most about that decision to reduce the sentence from 15 to 8 years?
The first thought I got was, you have just been given 8 years of luxury for murdering my son. Not just murdering him, but they tortures him as well. I just felt like I'd been slapped in the face again. No, all I've ever wanted is justice, and I've had nothing like that over the past 7 years, coming up to 8 years now, and I've had nothing. It shouldn't even be going on this long. They should have been given the 15 years and left at that. But they just chose to treat them with kid gloves and give them everything that they've asked for and everything that they've wanted. And
Thompson and Venables have been held in secure units where they've received individual tuition and counselling. In October last year, it was announced that they would be granted parole. Neither would spend a single day in a young offenders institution or an adult prison.
you know, everyone deserves a second chance, even them too. But to release them after this short time, it's just, I don't think they've changed. I think they'll come out and reoffend. Because all they've been given up to now is everything that they've asked for.
What do you think should have happened to them in prison?
I just think that they should be treated as criminals and not the perfect little boys that they've been treated as. If they hadn't done the murder, they wouldn't have had a private tutor and all the high lessons that they've been given. Like, our children go to normal schools. There's one teacher to how many children in a class. So if they hadn't committed that murder, they'd have gone to the same school, just a public school, and they wouldn't have come out with half the things that they're coming out with now.
There are some commentators, observers, who say, well, clearly, you as the mother of this child are emotionally involved in all of it, and it's difficult for you necessarily to see the value of education to improve these children's lives. But are you able to accept that it would have been impossible simply to tie them to a wall in a prison and just leave them to languish, that in a way the authorities had to do something to see if they could regenerate these boys and improve them and help them develop?
Yeah, I agree with that, but what I don't agree with is not send them to be young offenders. They should go to be young offenders and do some proper jail sentence. Because at the end of the day, they did do a murder. They haven't just stolen from a shop, they've actually took a little boy's life, my little boy's life. And I've got to live with that for the rest of my life.
At a High Court hearing this week, the judge ordered that Thompson and Venables should never be identified. For Denise Fergus, this is the final insult to her murdered son. Do you think that in principle they should be granted anonymity for the rest of their lives or not?
Oh no, because people have got the right to know where they are and who they're living next door to, haven't they?
Why is that important?
Because they've obviously got children themselves and they want to protect their children from murderers like them too. We don't want to be living next door to a murderer. If I found out tomorrow I was living next door to a murderer, I'd move, or I'd get them moved. So people have got the right to know if they are living next door to them or even in the same community as them. Well, it should never have come to this in the first place. If they'd have stuck by the 15 years, then people wouldn't be such in an uproar. They would have accepted that. I would have accepted it. I would have thought, well, justice has been done and one day they do deserve to walk.
The judge referred to comments made by people who had written hate mail to these boys, and also referred to James's father, who is quoted as saying, "I'll do my best to try and hunt them down." And she also said that there remains a serious risk from the Bulger family. What do you think she means by that?
The government are going out the way to blame likes of me and James's dad for making threats. Any person, any father, any mother in the right minds would say that anyway. You know, you're bound to feel that. But it doesn't mean to say that we're actually going to do harm to them.
So you don't want revenge?
No.
So what do you want?
I just want justice. That's all I do want.
Some people have suggested that your comments have, in part, encouraged the mood of the mob, the feeling that someone ought to take these boys' lives.
Well, if someone does it, then they do it.
But is that what you want?
I really can't answer that. Not until I can't.
Why not?
Because I just don't want to answer that.
Since James's death, Denise has tried to rebuild her shattered life. She's remarried and has 3 children, but her firstborn son is never far from her thoughts.
Now, from the minute I open my eyes of a morning, I think of James, to the last thought at night, I think of him. He's always in my thoughts, and they're going to stay. They're the only things I've got left of him.
Has the fact that you've restarted your life in so many ways helped that?
Well, yeah, because now I'm watching my 3 other kids growing up, and I love them to bits. But now I've got a 2-year-old who's coming up to the same age as what James was taking. I'm constantly looking at him thinking, you know, how could they have hurt someone so small? So I've got all that to live with. But at the end of it, I have to switch off and concentrate on the kids that I've got now, give them the best lives that I can give them. That's my main aim now, to look after them 3.
How has your experience of losing James affected the way you are as a parent with your 3 children now?
Well, my eldest lad, he's just turned 7. He often watches kids playing out in the street and he says, "Mum, can I go and play?" And the answer to that is no, you can't. We've bought them endless for the back garden to keep them in the back garden where they're safe. And even when they are playing in the garden, I have to sit in the kitchen and watch out the window. I can't tear myself away from them for a minute.
That must be very difficult to live with.
It's going to be more difficult for the kids because they're going to think, why is she being like that? You know, why won't she let me play out with friends of mine? All I'm doing is protecting them even more than what I protected James.
Although Denise Fergus feels the criminal justice system has failed her, she does have one final request.
Well, yeah, I have asked to meet them, and my solicitor got in touch with their solicitor, and he just went, "I'll get back to you on that one," and we've heard no more since.
Do you think you will ever be allowed to meet them?
No.
And why do you want to meet them?
I just want to ask them why they killed my son. They're the only ones that can answer that question.
Denise Fergus, the mother of James Bulger, talking to Martin Bashir. The 2 boys, Venables and Thompson, are now in the final stages of being assessed by medical and care experts. Those findings will be considered by the parole board, who are then expected to give the go-ahead for their release. Both boys are said to have made remarkable progress in the last 8 years, achieving good GCSE grades and developing other skills. They'll be relocated somewhere in Britain, well away from their former homes in the northwest, and they'll be on licence, effectively on probation, for the rest of their lives. Still to come, the 13-year-old girl who believes that cosmetic surgery will be her shortcut to stardom. But should the operation be allowed on one so young?
They are still children. They're too young to make up their own minds at the age of 14, 15, 16 about whether they should have this radical surgery.
And whatever happened to the man from Barrett's to Builders? We'll be updating you on last week's investigation. Welcome back. The fuss this week over a 15-year-old girl's decision to have breast implants has hardly died down. But tonight we have an even more astonishing story. Jamie Lee Mayle is just 13. Her ambition is to be either a television presenter or a pop star. She thinks she's pretty, but not pretty enough. So Jamie and her mother have decided to try to improve things. Jamie wants a new nose, and despite the dangers of a general anesthetic, she's determined to have it done. Operations on young girls for purely cosmetic reasons are allowed, as long as their parents agree. But as more and more teenagers go under the knife in search of bodily perfection, serious questions are being asked about the ethics of it all. Fiona Foster now reports.
In the minds of many of today's teenagers, being truly successful means being famous. They're bombarded with images of their pop and movie heroes, showing off their beautifully formed features and their seemingly flawless bodies. But for more and more youngsters these days, admiring from afar the picture-perfect glamour of celebrity.
It's my life, and nowadays image is so important in the business that I want to pursue, and it's what I want to do. And if my nose is going to stop me, I'm not going to let it.
Jamie Lee Mayle is 13 years old. She's at stage school in Brighton and dreams of being a pop star. But she believes that without the right nose, she'll never be a success.
When I was about 10 or 9 or 10, I was looking through photo albums of my mum when she was my age, and her nose looked and then I looked at photos of her when she was about 15, 16, and her nose looked like Concord, honestly. And I said to my mum, look, am I going to get that? And she goes, well, you've got a chance. And I thought, well, I'm not going to wait till I've matured and I've got a big nose and there's nothing I can do about it. So I decided to start saving up in case it grows really big and then I can fix it. There's no point trying to pursue a career in what I want to do and going to lots of record companies and saying, no, sorry, you're not quite right for us. Knowing full well they're just saying, oh, no, you're too ugly or something. And I don't want that to hold me back. I want to progress into something I want to do. And if plastic surgery is what it takes to fix my nose, to get me where I want to be, then that's what it has to be.
Jamie Lee's mother, Mary Mason, knows what she's going through. She had her own nose altered when she was 20. Far from discouraging her daughter, Mary understands entirely why Jamie Lee wants surgical enhancement.
What do you think of Jamie's nose?
At the moment, it looks just like mine did at her age. But as she said, in a couple of years' time, mine had actually grown enormously, and it looks potentially like hers is going the same way.
What difference do you think a new nose would make to Jamie Lee's life?
I can only speak from my own experience. It changed my whole personality when I had it done. I was very miserable living behind what I thought was an enormous nose. And it freed me up enormously when I thought I was much better looking. I don't think she's got the same hang-ups that I had, but if it makes her feel better about herself, then it's worth it.
For Mary, her own pop career blossomed after surgery. She made this appearance on Top of the Pops in 1977, when her single made the top 40.
Just call me angel of the morning. Anywhere that you take, just touch my cheek before you leave me.
I've been doing this work now for about 15 years. When I was doing it originally, it was extremely unusual for a young person to be looking for cosmetic surgery. Now it's much more normal, much more usual.
Dr. Eileen Bradbury is a clinical psychologist based at the Alexandra Hospital in Chester, ages in ever greater numbers.
The thing about magazines is they offer the ideal, the image of the perfect human body. People reading them get more and more distressed. These perfect human bodies are shown in conjunction with the consumer items, the wonderful clothes, the handbags, everything that anyone could ever aspire to in life. And then at the end of the magazine, you reach the end of the magazine and you're left with the question, OK, what do I do? And you find the answer, because all the adverts for cosmetic surgery are in the end of these magazines, and that's no coincidence. They're not at the beginning, they're at the end, and I'm sure that they are very carefully placed for this reason.
I know, I read in this magazine that you can now get sort of gift certificates, and boyfriends can give them to their girlfriends for like Christmas. So it's however much money for plastic surgery.
The magazines which feature cosmetic surgery ads claim girls like these from a school in Reading are not who they're targeting, but ideal body images tempt quick-fix solutions.
Would you ever consider plastic surgery, do you think, to alter this, or liposuction or anything like that?
I actually would. I actually would, because I don't see anything wrong with it. If you want to have it done, then you can do it, because people get a tattoo and no one looks at them twice if they got a tattoo, which is still changing your body in that way. I'd wait a few years till I definitely finished growing, until I just had a chance to think about it more carefully and just meet more people and see if they really did actually like me and didn't mind anything about me, then I might consider not having it done. But sometimes you just think it would make more people like you, and you just can't stop thinking that.
Pop bands like Atomic Kitten understand that whether they like it or not, they're role models to young girls, and they don't take that responsibility lightly.
No one's going to offer you a record deal because, oh, you have a nice nose.
I personally know how I got into the band was because of my attitude. Not because I could sing, because I can't. It was because of the way all three of us work. It's because we bring something to the band.
To what extent, though, is this 13-year-old girl right in that music executives, record companies, they are looking for a certain image, for a certain look?
Clothes and makeup and hairstylists,
presentation is the main thing.
That is what they
do.
do
You hold yourself and how you look. Not like, oh, you've got a bit of a dodgy nose. I mean, look at Liam Gallagher. Come on, he needs a whole, facelift. But no one
he's
he's bothered.
not that bad.
And I'm sure he's not bothered.
A few tweezers on his eyebrows. Oh, it's not that bad, you know what I mean? It's about attitude, personality.
Just being yourself.
Being you. No, do with a nose.
So we're getting the broken bone in exactly the line that we want.
If Jamie Lee does decide to go ahead, this is what she can expect. In most nose reshaping operations, the bone is commonly broken or chipped at to change the shape. It's gruesome and uncomfortable afterwards, and like all surgery, it carries real risks.
There's no legal age limit in this country to prevent children from having plastic surgery. Instead, it's left up to the individual clinics to regulate themselves. Most responsible surgeons wouldn't consider doing major cosmetic surgery on young teens unless there were extreme psychological reasons. But there are exceptions, much to the frustration of their more reputable colleagues.
The primary problem lies with operating on patients or on teenagers who are not fully developed. The moment you operate on an anatomical region or part in the body which hasn't fully developed, you risk the potential of affecting further growth.
Despite the risks, when surgeons and psychologists say she can, Jamie Lee is determined to proceed, and her mother Mary is 100% behind her.
It's just a normal part of life in other parts of the world. In England, we're terribly hung up about this. In America, it's just a very normal thing for people of her age to be thinking about plastic surgery. They get it for Christmas presents, birthday presents. This is very much an English hang-up.
It is a hang-up based on the fact that childhood should surely be a time of innocence, a time free from worrying, first and foremost, about how you look, and going under the surgeon's knife in order to change yourself.
Well, I think that childhood stopped in Enid Blyton's days. I mean, these girls are mature at 10 years old now, and they spend all their life looking in the mirror and wondering about their faces and their bodies.
Under the age of 16, any child who wants cosmetic surgery has to have parental permission. So even if a plastic surgeon is willing to carry out an operation, the burden of responsibility remains with the parents. And if you're faced with a miserable teenager with battered self-esteem, saying no can be very difficult.
Margaret Usher's daughter Janine was just 14 years old when years of torment about her ears drove her to the operating theatre.
Janine were about 7-year-old when she first started complaining about her ears. She wanted something doing to them. She didn't know what, but she wanted to see if they, make them smaller. I'd say she'd be about 10-year-old when she first asked me about the operation. She must have heard it or seen it on television, and she became aware that she could have it done. At 14, I decided to take her to the doctors because she had an ear infection, and that's the day that she said to me, "Mum, we asked about having my ears pinned back."
Seen here in her school play just weeks before the operation, Janine Usher had opted for a local anaesthetic, but changed her mind at the last minute and chose a general one instead.
At about 2:30, I thought there's something wrong here. She should have been back by now. So I inquired with the nurse. I said, well, why is she down so long? So she said, there's been a problem with the anaesthetic. So I started to panic then. And about 2 hours later, we actually got to see Janine on the trolley just before they moved her to Pendlebury Hospital. When we got up to Pendlebury Hospital, the doctor in charge said to us, he had a look at her and he said, "I don't hold out much hope." And 4 days after that, she died.